Hey there, my Tyler Perry Sistas fans. It's Barbie J here with Tyler Perry's comedy drama Sistas, Season 6, Episode 3, Fanning the Flames. It's funny because nobody's really fanning any flames, and I don't even recall hearing anything about flames in this episode for him to use that title, but maybe I missed it. I don't know. But before we get started, please do me a favor. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please take a moment right now. Hit that subscribe button. Then hit the notification bell. It'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Then I ask that you like the video. That's a thumbs up button. Write a comment and share my video to help my channel grow. Okay, now this episode starts off with Pam walking up to a fireman and asking what happened, and he tells her there was a body found inside the salon and it was on fire, but he's the second shift. The fire was last night, so he's waiting to find out information himself. And as soon as he finds out, he'll let her know. And so Pam asks, who is it? Like, because he tells her there was a body found inside. She's like, who is it? But he says they don't know. And Pam is looking as if she's going to have a heart attack or pass out, especially when she sees Karen's car is still there and they thinking she need oxygen. I mean, she was doing her acting thing. I was like, you go ahead, Tyler, allowing Pam to get in her little drama acting. You know what I mean? Instead of all the silly stuff, she was doing a little drama. But anyway, Pam wants to go inside, to see how bad it is, but the fireman would not allow her, stating that they are waiting for the medical examiner to arrive, and he has like 4 stops before getting to them. And it's Aaron arrives and wants some answers, and he's getting irate because he's not getting any, and Pam wants to call Karen's mother and tell her Aaron is telling her not to until they know for sure that Karen's in there. And then he starts with that blaming Pam for the fire and saying that it's her fault because she didn't turn everything off. And I'm like, who the hell does Aaron think he is right now? And he's yelling at Pam and blaming her without knowing any facts whatsoever, and told her she didn't take things serious there and all that. And Pam told him to go to hell. I said, you got that right. I told him to go to double hell. Who did he think he is? Then we have Zach showing up to the law firm and telling her that, what he learned, telling Fatima what he learned about his son Michael from Heather. So Fatima is saying that this is not good, and Zach is comparing this to how his mother used to do him when he was younger, having him playing by himself while she's getting high. And it seems like the same thing to him. So they make a plan to go at noon instead of at 3 p.m. like Heather suggested, because they want to see what's going on. They could find out ahead of time. Then Andy comes in and sees them lovey-dovey, and she breaks that up, telling Zach he has to leave, and he calls her a hater. And I was laughing. I said, yeah, she do be hating. You sleeping with everybody in the damn office, and every time Zach come around, you trying to send Fatima back to her desk. You know what I mean? Anyway, so now we have Bio. He's showing up to Sabrina's apartment, and she gives him a very big hug for all he's done for her. Then she tells him that she thinks her job is going to fire her, and he tells her not to worry about it. Then that's when we learn that Sabrina rents her apartment. I don't know why. I thought she owned it, but she doesn't. She rents. So Bio tells her she shouldn't worry because he can give her tips on what to invest in, and she could double what she has and won't have to think about working for a while. And, she was like, well, I like to work. He was like, but you shouldn't have to, whatever. So then he takes her to lunch and tells her that she don't need her purse or her phone or anything, just to take her keys. And they leave out. And he's carrying her shoes as she walks barefoot out of her apartment. Talking about he's a prince. He got people that'll brush off her feet for her. I was like, that's so silly. Girl, put your damn shoes on and walk out the house like you're normal. Ay. Anyway, we have Fatima and Andy finishing up with their deposition. And Fatima is amazed at how well Andy handled it, and says she'll never be as good as her. And Andy agreed, and that made Fatima look at her sideways. And then Andy said, you'll be better. Then said, I got you, didn't I? And she said it was a joke. And Fatima was like, yeah, because I was like, what? Then Fatima shared about getting back. She asked to talk to her with some personal stuff, and she shared about getting back in school and how she and Zach still haven't set a wedding date. And Andy asks why, and Fatima shares her reasons, mainly Zach's baby mama's signing papers and seeing where things stand and what she's walking into. And then Fatima turns around and sees Tamara. Well, really, Andy was like, is that who I think it is? And when Fatima sees it's Tamara, she gets up and goes right over to her, and asks, what is she doing there? And she says she's there to bring Hayden lunch. And she's like, he's looking. And Fatima is pissed because she can't do anything at that moment. And then Zach shows up to get her so they can go see Heather and little Zach. Michael, Michael, but I like calling him little Zach. But Zach notices something is bothering Fatima, and that is pertaining to Tamara. And he's like, what you want to do? You want to do something? Want to beat her up? I'll jump her. And he said, I don't hit women, but I'll hold her down while you put. And she was like, you so crazy, stop. But anyway, Fatima doesn't tell him what's going on at all. Then it switches over to Tamara. She gets into Hayden's office and he tells her he has a surprise for her, that he's taking her to Miami for the weekend, then asks if she could go, and she says yes. And he says, great, because we're leaving now. And she doesn't have to pack or anything because he'll buy her new clothes when they get there. And she's like, for real? She said, I don't know how to take all of this, So he said he wants to treat her like a queen, especially because of how she's been treating him lately. And she's calling him daddy all the time. Oh, daddy this and daddy that. And saying, wait till he sees the things she's going to do to him when they touch down in Miami. And honestly, y'all, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. But to me, it seemed like Hayden knows something is up. Y'all let me know down in the comment section how y'all feel about it. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. Anyway, so now we're at the airport and Jonah's ex shows up at Danny's counter and she's like, you remember me? And Danny tried to act like she doesn't remember her. And the woman was like, yes, you do. And then she warns Danny about Jonah and saying that he's crazy and that he just got out of jail. And Danny asked her if she bailed him out. And she said, hell nah. She said, and I don't understand why, I don't understand myself why Andy is acting so very nonchalant about what is being said and told to her. She goes to sit down. So the lady goes to sit down. They never tell us her name, right? I don't think. And not, at least not in this episode. And she sits down. And then Hayden shows up with Tamara at Danny's counter. And he's inquiring about his flight and confirms that his tickets are first class because only the best for his woman and all, his lady, all this stuff. Then he asks for the private area for them to chill until it's time to board. And Danny's like, you can pick a seat because they ain't no one of them private areas. Delta has those things. A lot of these airlines have those little private areas where you could go, but they didn't have it. So then we have a boring back and forth scene between Andy and Gary. He wants to take her to dinner and she's hesitant to say yes. Then the receptionist comes to her office and informs her that someone is there to see her. So she tells Gary she has to go. It's a client. And he tells her it's not a client. She's like, oh boy, like what did he do? She said, well, I'm going to put you on speaker. And when she gets there, it's a woman singing that song, Have You Ever by Brandy. Have you ever... I don't know the words. I don't even know why I was about to start singing. I don't know one word in that song. Anyway, so... I'm sorry. So, of course, after that, Andy agreed to go to dinner with Gary. Y'all knew that was going to get her. We all knew it. So the receptionist said that was sweet. And Andy said, whatever. Don't fall for it because I'm trying not to. I said, okay, keep trying, Andy. Keep on. Then Gary gets a call from Aaron saying he needs him to make some calls for him. Gary's asking what's going on, but Aaron doesn't really explain, but instead asks him to come to the Karen salon because he knows Gary is well connected. So when Gary arrives, Aaron tells him, what's up and asks if he can make some calls, to someone to get some information. So Gary said he'll call the mayor. I said, excuse me, the mayor of Atlanta? All right now. Meanwhile, we have Maurice in the hospital, all in Q's face, somewhat harassing him, but I ain't mad at him really too much about it. But I liked when he smacked him in the face, and Q was like, nurse. But to me now, if a person is going to do something like this, what Maurice is doing, wouldn't you record the guy, have a recording playing? But Maurice is not thinking clearly or rationally. He could have recorded the incriminating stuff that Q admitted to. And Maurice is so stupid if he didn't record it, their conversation. I'm going to be so mad at him. Ugh. Especially when he kept asking Q, why did he lie on him and Sabrina? Because he knows they didn't rob that bank. And Q admitted that he didn't want to go back to jail and that he and Sabrina, that meaning Maurice and Sabrina would be all right because they don't have a record. I said a record? They might have a record now because of your dumb ass, what you did. And he said all they need is an attorney and they would be out in no time. I said, well, do you know how much money that costs? How much all of that costs? What you talking about? Anyway, Maurice reminded Q of how good he was to him and that he will never find someone to be as good to him as he was. And Q was like, if you're trying to tug at my heartstrings, you need to stop because I don't have a heart. And I was like, damn. And that's when he leaned over, Maurice leaned over and told him he better watch his back because he's going to have him murdered. He said he got all of $6,000 and he'll give it to anybody who will do the job. I said, ooh. You better stop, Maurice. You better stop. I said, I hope Q wasn't recording anything or there's no recorders in that room. Anywho, now we have Zach and Fatima showing up to where Heather lives. And they get out the car and they walk into the building and they see little Zach out there by himself, playing by himself. That don't look like the same baby that they had in season, what was that, 5? It don't look like the same baby that Heather was carrying. At least not to me. I could be wrong. Y'all let me know. But this boy look bigger than that baby. Because I can't see you carrying him on your hip. You know what I mean? They didn't even pick him up. They had him walking. That's how big he was. Anyhow, they go into the apartment and what's her name? Heather offers them something to drink and what y'all doing here? I told y'all to come later. And then it was like, okay, fine, and she's letting me, oh, wait, I missed something. Mostly importantly, the lady out the window is yelling stuff out, saying she done called child services on her at least 4 times, that I wish somebody would come and get him and take him away from her. The boy can't speak. He be out here hungry and all of that stuff. And Zach was getting emotional and upset. And, Fatima's trying to calm him down. Oh man, Heather is a terrible mother. She a terrible mother. And even when they got inside, she's like, damn, what you want me to do? He okay? She's yelling at him, what you doing? How you get out here? I told you to stay inside. And Zach is like, don't yell at him like that. She said, hold up. You've been a father all of 5 minutes. Like, don't be telling me what to say to my child. He don't even speak at all. And I was about to get him. Oh yeah, they said he's still in diapers and Pampers and stuff. And she's like, well, he's slow. And they asked him when was the last time she took him to the pediatrician. He was like, a pediatrician? She was like, he ain't sick. He ain't got no cold. And she's like, y'all judging me? Y'all sitting there judging me? And they were like, no, that's not what we're trying to do. Fatima was doing most of the talking because Zach was getting pissed off. He was down there looking at the kid and all he kept thinking about is his mother and how his mother treated him and left him. And that nosy neighbor also said that little Zach be outside all day and night by himself. Not just day, night too. So when they get inside, Heather also gives them the envelope with the legal documents in it, letting her know that she signed the paper, letting them know she signed it, and want to know when she gonna get her first check. And Zach is not saying anything, and he's really pissed. And she's like, "Why are you so quiet?" And Fatima's covering for him, saying, it's a lie when you just find out that you're a father or something like that. It was. So because Heather is feeling like they're judging her, she told them to get the F out of her house. So the boyfriend, Jimmy, comes in the apartment and Heather tells him that they just leaving. And then he was like looking at little Zach and said, you stink. Get your ass up and get in there and take a bath, you shitty booty ass boy. I said, what? And she's looking at him like, don't say that in front of them. And Zach was down there on a knee, on that one knee, kneeling by the floor with little Zach. And Fatima's saying, we need to go. And Zach is like, I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it. And Fatima's like, I know. And Jimmy looks at Zach and said, you about to do what? And then he said, who is you? I said, who is you? Oh, Lord. And Zach is standing at this moment now and staring at Jimmy. And Heather tells him that Zach is Michael's daddy. And he's like, oh, really? He said, did he bring the money? Meanwhile, Fatima saying, let's go, Zach. Let's go. So Zach stayed quiet and stared at Jimmy as he walked out of the apartment. And Jimmy yells, did you bring the money? Yeah, leave. Next time you come, bring some money. I'm taking care of your kid and your fine-ass baby mama. I said, oh, Lord Jesus. Zach was quiet and just, he was like a quiet storm. Like he could have just went off and snapped. So Zach, they get outside and Zach is like, I got to get him. And Fatima lets him know if he goes back in there, Heather can have him arrested because she has full custody of Michael. So Fatima suggests that they go back to the office and find out their options from Andy or one of the other, attorneys. And she insists that they do it the right way. So they get back to the law firm and Andy happened to come up behind them, stating that she only came to the reception area because what was that? Her associate Pam is there. I said, when did Pam become her Andy's associate? Can someone please help me out with this craziness down in the comment section? That line made no sense to me whatsoever. So they all go over to Pam, who's crying and is still feeling that the body in the salon is Karen's. And that's why Aaron kept telling her to wait because that's what was in her head. So she tries to get the words out of her mouth about what has happened, and Andy's trying to get it. What happened? What, she's asking her that she goes, there was a fire at the salon, and Aaron is blaming her, basically. And then she tells him that Karen is dead, and Zach says, what? And it goes off like that. So that's how that episode ended. I mean, it was pretty entertaining. It didn't move so slow. I like that Tyler had Pam she basically had this whole episode to herself. Pam was the one who was in, most of the scenes, it seems like. It kind of seems like it, but it probably wasn't that. But I'm glad that he given her a chance to do more dramatic scenes and not just the silly, crazy stuff. Because this is going to help build her up as an actress, whatever you want to call it. So I enjoyed the episode. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of this month. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.